what were you experiencing in your life that led you to connect with Emily?
That's a really good question. I have connected with Emily a few different times. I originally met her through a friend of a friend. And each time that I've been kind of drawn to connect with her has been where I've just maybe felt a little confused about which direction I kind of should go that's for my highest and best, where I was kind of lost track of my intuition a little bit, like lost track of the ability to be able to hear it as clearly as I like to hear it. Kind of going back and forth between what the mind says and what's like actually true, So those are the times that I've kind of reached out to Emily to kind of help get her guidance on what my truth actually is instead of what my mind might think it is.
Great. Yeah. Have you previously met with anybody that shares like Emily does, either intuitively or like energy work?
Yeah, I have before Emily. I feel like Emily is just a direct channel for the angels and spirit. You can tell because she'll like correct herself. Like if she gets a word and she says a word that's different than what they're wanting her to say, like she'll take a minute and correct it, wait for like, okay, what are they saying? And then change the word. So I've never really had anybody that's like that specific in their guidance, which is really kind of cool. And I definitely appreciate. Cause I feel like sometimes people's own like selves can maybe get in the way, I would think, in being like a channel like that. So I just really appreciate the fact that she is so like in tune and like in integrity with that connection that she has, Yeah.
So what are some of the things you have experienced since working with Emily?
That's a good question. So, well, this most recent session I had, it kind of felt like the angels gave me a talking to in a way. I was kind of taken back by some of the guidance. I was like, but it was like much deeper than I was kind of thinking. A lot of the things I was thinking that they might tell me were more, as I realized and had that perspective, were more like surface issues. So what it's allowed me to do is kind of like take a deeper look at my life and really understand that sometimes you got to take a step back and like create it, like be intentional about what the different parts of your life want to look like, what you want them to look like, and then kind of move forward in creating that. So since my last session, that's what I've been more, like moving forward on. And I think too, I always feel lighter after I talk with her, it's kind of a reminder to maybe not take things as seriously as that you kind of can't screw up in a way. Because I think, I don't know if most people are like this, but I want to make sure I get it right,
I hear you.
Yeah. And she helps remind you that it's like everything is all in divine timing and you can't mess up, kind of,
I do, yeah. Human nature, we always like to try to control things, predict
Yes.
things, and know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I understand.
Exactly.
So what has been the best thing about your experience? If you could choose one or two things.
I would say just like the knowing more, the clarity that I get, from that connection and being able to have awareness about things that I might not be able to see myself. Those have probably been the best things that I get from a session, if that's what you're looking for.
Right, so clarity.
Yeah.
Very good. So what would you say, you already kind of briefly mentioned this, but if you could pinpoint like what has has changed since you've worked with Emily?
Let's see. I feel just kind of letting go a little bit more into kind of what my true self wants, like allowing that. Just having more freedom to trust that part, I guess, instead of having it like look a certain way, like my mind. I really just helping more discern between, like, get out of my head more, I guess, basically.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you went on a retreat a while back. It would be great if you could tell us a little bit about it. I do have some questions. So whatever it is you remember, I don't know how long ago it was.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so how was it?
It was truly an incredible experience. And I really want to go on some of her other ones. Like, I know she's planning some out west and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one that she had like in St. Pete, Bradenton area, years ago, maybe like, I don't know, at least 4 years ago. And it was pretty crazy what I experienced. I went into it, not really knowing what to expect. But it was incredible. The first really neat thing that I learned from her and from the retreat was like how to meditate with trees. And I actually had, and really she taught more about like the healing power of nature, which I already knew, and was always just drawn to nature, but she really kind of helped explain it a little bit better so that I could, we could understand. But she said, like, she taught us how to meditate on a tree, literally, and was talking about how trees can take your pain. And so I meditated on a tree, and the tree, like, straight up told me, like, give me your pain, like, let me take it or whatever. It was the craziest thing. And I was having an issue with my ankle. And so on one of the breaks, because she would always have a lot of great breaks that we would like go out and just kind of, do what we wanted to do. And so there was this really beautiful tree, like this branch that was, along the ground that I could really just like nestle up on and lay on. And I laid there and just kind of meditated and like thought about my ankle and was just like being grateful for, the tree and all that. And my ankle stopped hurting. And it was pretty incredible. And then the last night she stood up, and Emily is just this tiny little thing, and she stood up on a chair and like asked her guides to come through and was like helping us see auras and guides and all this stuff. And that was awesome. Like, I was seeing all this crazy stuff, saw her guides, and she was wanting us to like describe what they were and what they looked like. And it was just like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I was so grateful to be able to, see it as well. Cause it's just like, they were like detailed. It was nuts. So.
Yeah, I've heard about when you have the group together, like seeing the guides. Like that's a regular thing I hear. That's really powerful.
Yeah. I want to do it again. That was pretty cool.
Are there any other specific experience that you'd like to mention or highlights of the experience? It kind of sounds like that's kind of what you did. If there's anything else that kind of specific things that you did at the retreat, like what was scheduled.
Yeah, so it's kind of been a while ago, but she had parts where she would like kind of give little lectures and talk and channel and stuff, and then she would do meditations quite frequently. And the meditations were pretty powerful. I remember having some really cool experiences through the meditations. And then what she did is she allowed us to share what our experiences were. And then she kind of would like give feedback about what those, what maybe we received. Because in this one meditation I saw a horse's tail, like swishing in front of me. And then I had such pressure on one of my hands, like heavy pressure, like somebody pressing down hard. And like she confirmed that was like one of my guides, that was like one of my really like strong guides, basically, that was trying to help me, with my strength and my inner strength and like that masculine kind of part of myself and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Oh, and then I also saw this little boy that came through. It was really playful, and she said it was the child of my like soulmate. It was like through to like just say hi, like be playful. Isn't that weird and really cool?
That's cool. Well, yeah, especially like the innocent juvenile energies.
Yeah, that child, like, yeah.
Very cool. So overall, did it meet your expectations?
Yeah, totally. The retreat totally exceeded my expectations because, like I said, I didn't really know what to expect, but it was really great.
And is there anything else that surprised you?
About the retreat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything else that surprised me? I was happily surprised by all of like the opportunities she gave us to like kind of hone our own gifts and practice kind of thing. I thought that was really neat. I liked being able to practice and then kind of come together and like talk about it, you know?
Like self-empowerment?
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so after the retreat or during, what were some of the other results that you encountered?
Just a greater connection and a recognition of that spiritual part of myself, like more of a confidence to be able to like listen to it, right? And I was also surrounded by like-minded people too, so that made me not feel like you kind of feel, I think when you're on that spiritual path that you're kind of weird or, you know, so that was, I think, one of my favorite parts too, is like the community.
Right. Yes. Agreed. And I hear that a lot. And I'm so lucky to be able to meet, you know, and talk to Emily's clients, because there's just this vibe that like is shared among everybody. That's just fantastic. I wish there were more people like that around in my life, right? Yeah. So you've pretty much answered a couple of the other questions, but if there's any other like benefits that you've enjoyed as a result of working with Emily?
Well, I'd say more like joy.
Mm-hmm.
More joy, more happiness, clarity. That's coming up for me a lot, which I think we chatted about. Like a better knowing kind of about things as well.
Overall, would you recommend her or her retreats?
Heck yeah, I recommend her all the time.
If so, why would you recommend it?
Yeah, so I would recommend the retreat, and I don't know what she's doing now. You know, her retreat could be totally different now than it was 3 or 4 years ago, whatever. But I would recommend the retreats if you're like really at any part of your spiritual path and you know that there's like this whole other world out there, right? You feel like this inclining that there is, and you're kind of just trying to make sense of it, you know, and you think you might have spiritual gifts, or I would recommend it for that, because just being around, like, I feel like just being in her presence too, or like talking to her, you like, I feel like it gets more activated kind of. And then for the sessions, like if you're feeling stuck, I feel like that's a reason why I kind of go to her as well. Like if I'm feeling really stuck and I just need kind of this outside perspective, right? I know that whatever guidance I receive from her is always going to be, you know, for my highest and best. And that always helps me get unstuck and also, you know, feel like good about it. And although sometimes you hear stuff that, you know, might not be what you want to hear, but you know, it's what you need to hear kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, thank you so much. If there's anything else that you want to add, this is your kind of spotlight here. Any other comments or experiences? But you had plenty to say, so we really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Emily's incredible. I recommend her when I have friends that I, connect with that are having just are feeling lost or having trouble or having trouble moving forward, maybe, or are completely kind of just feeling overwhelmed by life too, and yeah, she's just extremely loving, sweet.
So yes, enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
You too.